bitches, every city in my tribe. Look behind. Booty dominate the world, peaches ripe.
Germany.
Yeah, well, everyone has a voice now, right? So when I was younger, you first found out when you got up and opened the door and pushed the snow away and picked up the newspaper. That's when you first found out. But now everyone's empowered, and so those groups are sounding louder than they have in the past. And what I love about it is they're exposing themselves, and we're picking them off left and right.
Yeah.
Well, but there's another, just real quickly, there's another story, and then you can go back to yours that I wish we would understand, and this has to do with police brutality. I wish we would understand what it was like to stand wherever you were standing on 9/11. I wish that everyone in this country had that experience. It should be required for them to watch reels of media coverage.
Yeah.
We were terrified. Every dam was fortified. Every bridge was fortified. They stopped dust cropter planes in the Midwest. It was terrifying. One of the things that we did during that time is we created a department called the NSA, and we deployed excess military equipment to police departments around the country at a record rate. I mean, there are police departments on record receiving tanks. And we applauded those moves because we wanted to be protected locally. Yeah. And so my argument is, did we have an exit strategy for that? Or have we gone so militaristic into our police efforts around the country that maybe they need to be put into check? And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that I wanted to say that.
No, I agree. I'm of the mindset that our military is completely about imperialism. I do not think they are fighting for our freedom.
Yeah. Well, it all comes down to the main thing in the military is like you're always going to be following orders from somebody. If you're a private, you're taking orders from your sergeant. If you're a sergeant, then you're following the chain of command and all of that. And right now, that's kind of what that was what Vietnam was. That was what Iraq and Afghanistan was. Not everyone wanted to be there. It's just they joined the military. They signed up. They were told to go there, so they went. If you can't do that, then you pack your bags and you go home. If you're lucky, you could be dishonorably discharged. You could be court-martialed, and there's all these different things. And you kind of, I think I'm glad Sam brought up that your name's Sam, right? I'm not getting that wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you brought up 9/11, and one of the things that I kind of think about is when that happened, the entire country came together because we were scared and because we were, we didn't want this to happen again. We wanted justice. We wanted protection. We didn't want something like this to happen again. So I imagine what would happen if the people in the 2020s were put into that time period and they were saying, hey, we don't want the NSA to be scanning us or searching us or doing all this. That infringes on our rights. And then, the big problem nowadays, you mentioned also the fact that you just read the newspaper and that was your news source. We have access to the internet, which is like a wide array of every single source of information on the planet. So you can believe whatever you want. And then you just go to imright.com and you can find 5 different sources to back up whatever your opinion is, whether it's true or not. Yeah. And that's the thing that kind of scares me.
Sam, why do you seem so progressive?
So I was, I'll let you know a little secret. I'm from the Obama administration. I worked in the Obama administration. I've spent my entire life working for fairness and transparency in consumer finance. And I started the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau with a group of people in Washington, D.C. in 2011. And so I'll tell you this, my windshield is your generations, and I'm excited and optimistic. And it's just, I just almost have goosebumps when I think about what you guys are going to be able to do. Yeah. And think, it's unfortunate that the word race is in critical race theory, right? Because it's a discipline that causes you to look at systems and determine whether the outcomes are or are not effective based on what it is that you deployed, right? A policy, a law, whatever the case may be. It forces you to critically think about systems.
Mhm.
And it's unfortunate that the word race is in there, because it gives bait to the right. And it, the people, I don't want it because it has the word race in there. Well,
Right.
whatever. But it teaches us to think critically, and I think that's something that your generation does on the word go, and I love it. I'm excited about it. So I'm progressive in the sense that I am what I am. I've done what I've done, but I am definitely in the front seat watching you guys.
Yeah,
Well,
I feel that historically the United States has always been a progressive nation, and I don't know like when that changed to be a bad thing.
yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm kind of trying to do as like someone who's been as active as I have, because I haven't always been this active in politics, except for one point in my high school period when I was very active, but on the other side, I'm afraid. But, it's just the main thing that I want to strive for is less of a controlling world and more of an understanding one. One of the reasons why I want critical race theory to be taught in schools is not so we control people saying this is bad, you need to know about it. It's so they understand that something like that can never happen again. And history is always going to repeat itself when you don't know about it and when you refuse to learn from it. That's
Right.
one of the reasons why we're taught so much about all this. And there's so many people who don't even know how bad it was. I remember back when Django Unchained came out, Tarantino was showing just how brutal the slave trade was and how horrible everyone was treated. And a lot of people were watching the movie like, I didn't even know it was this bad. And that's kind of one of the things that I think is the main issue.
No, you're right.
Right.
I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been to like a lot of trainings, and I've been exposed to a lot of cultures of business, and there's this element I feel of toxic positivity where it's always this rah rah, we're so awesome, rather than really applying a critical thinking strategy to what's working and what's not. And really being in tune with reality. Because I feel, and I'm not like, I'm a very optimistic and positive person, but not to the point that it inhibits my growth. And I think that's where, like, man, I feel that's where we are in like American culture.
Yeah, but don't ask permission. My advice to your generation is don't ask permission. What we built is yours. Add on to it, tear it down, put a new roof on it. Whatever you want to do it. But don't think that that is the way it has to be. Yeah. We built it because it gave us the best possible chance at controlling a very rapidly growing country.
Yeah.
And it's not
necessarily.
Look at the school system.
Systems have changed.
Yeah, look at the school exactly. The value system has changed. And what would happen in the school system? And I don't know. I have older children, so I raised my 3 children alone. Their mother passed away from a brain tumor.
Very sorry.
No. Are you kidding me? It was a gift for her and for me, because we have 3 of the most wonderful children, and as difficult as our life was, we were both better people for going through that, and she's in a much more comfortable place now. So, but I have older children, so I've spent time with children going through the high schools, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not saying that every school is the same way. I think the more control the school system has of the children, the more successful the school is from a test basis. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't necessarily leak down to whether they provided moral and social support for other kids that didn't test well. So my theory is this: what would happen if you just, in California, we don't have hallways, right? You come out of the classroom and you're outside. Everything all the classes exchange outside. You walk outside and you go to your next class. What would happen if you just, what would happen if you just cut the campus out right there and just said, got rid of the authoritarian nature of you be here at this time and you do this time, and at least at the high school years. And what would happen if you opened it up and just stopped being authoritative?
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, I
let
can
the
tell you
kids
right now
come.
that if schools in Minnesota had no hallways, we'd be freezing our butts off in the middle of
Yeah.
February.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean, because it seems very like corporal and industrialized, where it's, certain hours everything happens. Where I've always been a night owl. I've never liked getting up early in the morning, even though it's what I do now. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, there were certain things that in terms of education that, are important, just inherent math skills, a general understanding of science. But there's also a lot of social and economical things that are really important that are definitely missed in the education system.
Yeah.
And I've
Well,
always thought high school would be better if it were more like college.
I'm so fucking cute, bitch.